In this video, we're going to take a look at Volcanoes National Park and its accessibility on the Big Island of Hawaii coming up right after this. You can see Cheryl sitting there on the Whill Model F at the edge of the Caldera here. This is Kilauea, which is the most recently active volcano in Hawaii. It last erupted in 2018, and that really caused quite a dramatic change in this mountain. The mountain lost a considerable amount of height, and then the caldera changed from being about 250 feet deep to about 1,600 feet deep. We're walking along this trail here, and you can see the trail's a little bit rough. You can see down into the bottom of the caldera. I'm kind of looking over the edge there with the camera, a little wiggly. But as you look out in the bottom of the caldera, one of the things you see is there's starting to be vegetation growing back in the top. It looks like there's a lot of little trees down in the bottom. In the distance, you can see one of the big steam vent associated with the main caldera, and then you can also see steam coming up all along the border. We're going to go back along this trail, and now I've got the video sped up to twice normal speed, just so it doesn't drag forever as we drive or as we ride. There you can see a lot of the steam coming up, obscuring the view. And there's steam vents all over this area, behind us across the road. Pretty much everywhere we looked, there was steam coming up. You can see one up here on the left. During the last eruption in 2018, the width of the caldera changed significantly as well. Uh, it was about a half a mile wide. Now it's a mile and a half wide. So literally tripled in size, the caldera there. Again, you can see as we're going along the edge of the steam coming up. Uh, I'm going to look over here at the edge. You can't really see down in there very far. There's another one we'll look at later in the video that we can see a little farther, but it's just basically a crack where the steam leaks up. There's not down in the bottom parts of it. There doesn't seem to be much vegetation, but toward the top, because there's constant moisture coming up, it seems like vegetation thrives. The trail that we're on is very definitely, and here's another one. You see, I'm going to take a look, try to get a little better look down in there. But the trail that Cheryl's on is very much an accessible trail. Now, I would not take a hospital style wheelchair out there just because I think there's a little bit of loose gravel. I think it might be very hard to push. But this Model F worked really well for us as we're going along. You can see Cheryl has no trouble outrunning me. Now we're headed kind of back toward where we came from. And we're going to visit a different trail and go back to the visitor center here in just a few minutes. These mountains hold I should say, these volcanoes hold a significance in the Hawaiian culture, uh, thought to be the home of Pele, who is the goddess of fire and volcanoes. So there's a lot of cultural things associated with it for the people of Hawaii. And then it's interesting too that there's a lot of historical things that have happened here. Mark Twain in the late 1860s visited, and then there were buffalo soldiers stationed here in the first part of the 20th century. So altogether, a lot of different things have been associated with this particular place. Now here we can see some descriptions, and there were a lot of these signs around that highlighted the various geological aspects of the mountains. We're not going to look at all of them, but you'll see I stopped at this one just to show you what they're like. Now we're going to head back toward the visitor center. And this trail was paved. And as you can see, again, sped up twice, but Cheryl's running right along. Here's another one of those signs, and it talks about this particular area and the fact that there's been a lot of steam eruption up here, and there's been a lot of minerals that have been brought to the surface, in the past. So as you go along, it'll point out there's sulfur crystals are pretty common because the steam tends to have sulfur in it. But there are other minerals. We'll see a sign coming up in a bit. There's this wooden walkway go over areas that are not safe to drive over. It was interesting that one of the signs said that you drill down close to these steam vents and the ground temperature's around 200 degrees. So it would be very dangerous in some of these areas to get off. You could wind up in a situation where you got severely burned. Again, you can see the different colors in the rock over here on the left, and those are associated with the minerals in it. That was what that sign was talking about. It was interesting as we were walking along, the vegetation, some of it seems to thrive here, and then some of it looked almost dead, and I'm not sure whether, what triggers the difference. Because it was obviously growing pretty well at some point in time, and now, like I said, some of it looks really dead. But one of the things that was interesting, and it talked about it on some of the signs in here, was the fact that as non-native vegetation has spread in the area, it's had a negative impact on the birds and other animals that lived in this area. That seems to it's significantly reduced the numbers of birds that were native in this area. They typically in this area used to be birds that thrived out in open country, and as the grass has been grown taller, they've lost their ability to safely forage in it, so they've moved on. And you can see even way over here from the volcano, we're getting steam coming up out of these vents. There are quite a few trails in Volcano National Park that we were on that are very much accessible with a capable power chair or a capable scooter. Something's got some ground clearance. But there are also trails that are not accessible. They have steps on them. I would check at the visitor center before I ventured off. Now, Cheryl's going to run into a problem here. This Whill Model F has one challenge in that the front wheels are caster based. In other words, they just rotate on their own. And so when she hits an obstacle like that, sometimes they'll pivot and basically create a block. So I had to help her with that. Her Whill Model CI doesn't do that, but her Whill Model CI is also not something you can tender with. So you trade off. Again, more information about the area here in Volcanoes National Park. In just a second, we're going to head back up toward the visitor center, and it transitions from this open area that is really pretty warm into a cool forested area. It's very nice, very enjoyable. By the way, if you look down and check your subscribe button, if it's red, that is an alert from YouTube saying that you're not subscribed to the channel. If you value the content, do me a favor, subscribe, and you'll get notified when we make a new video. And that's at least once a week. As you can see, I'm following Cheryl, which is my usual position because on either of her chairs, she can outrun me. As we get to the end of this, we're actually going to go in the visitor center and take a look at some of the exhibits that are there. She stopped to get a picture. We're starting to come out and now into this grassy area very close to the visitor center. Off on the left, there's some looks like picnic facilities and things that people were using. We got cut out a little bit there, and we're getting pretty close to the parking lot for the visitor center. And what we're going to do, like I said, is we're going to go up to the visitor center. We're going to go in and take a look around. By the way, there are very nice, accessible restrooms at the visitor center. As you get farther into the park, we didn't see any, basically any outhouses or any other facilities. So I would double check and make sure you know where they are if you're going to venture into the park for a longer period of time. I said for us, we were going to meet our ride here in just a minute, and this was very convenient. Inside the visitor center now, you see there's exhibits talking about the flora and the fauna in the park, showing the different kinds of plants and things that live there. We'll also see some of the geology involved. There's quite a few in the way of pictures and things to look at. Talks about the birds and how they brought a lot of the things to Hawaii that are there now. So much of what was there is come in from other places. In fact, one of our guides told us that in reality, most of the trees on Hawaii were not native, that they were imported. The King Kamehameha had people that explored bring back trees and plants to use there. And so the variety and diversity of the flora extended. That last picture there also talked about the waves, and in particular coconut palms. You see them fringing a lot of islands in the Pacific, and it's because the coconut seeds will float and will eventually sprout when they hit land for a while. In just a second, you'll see a screen come up that has a picture of Cheryl and I. Again, if you're not subscribed, you can click on that, and that will subscribe you to the channel. There's also a playlist of other videos from this trip that you might enjoy. Thanks for watching.